Welcome back. Wanted to give an update on my weekly game. Excuse my voice, it's a little hoarse. I've had a bit of a cough in the last week, whatever. It's been a long day and I've used my voice a lot today. In fact, I just came back from a meeting I had to go to in the community, and that's why I'm kind of in still the work clothes. But I was so excited about my game on Tuesday. I wanted to tell you about it, give you an update on what I did differently and why I think it worked well. So it just as a very brief recap, the week before this, so last week, I was I wouldn't say I was despondent. I wasn't too crushed over the fact that it had a session that didn't go as well as I had hoped. In fact, I had taken it as a bit of a learning opportunity, because in having a session where things didn't work, it gave us an opportunity to talk about those things and what we could do to fix them in the future, which is exactly what I tried to do this last week. So a couple things that I changed. I had experimented in minimal prep. And so minimal prep meaning I just gave it some thought. I didn't really write a whole lot down. I was going to just try to improv with the characters, and it didn't quite go as well as expected. So what I did this time is I borrowed on one of the commenters, Primeval Fantasy. He had said what he does for prep is he thinks about contingencies. He doesn't think about set pieces per se. So things that must happen. He just thinks of, well, what could happen and what contingencies could be there. And so that's what I did. I wrote down on a piece of paper, and I limited myself to just the one piece of paper. I wrote out all of the obstacles that I thought were logical based on what had happened in the game previously. So obstacle 1, where are we going? And then I wrote out a few contingencies, and then so on. Like in each one, and I fully anticipated that some of the obstacles would be confronted by the players, and others may not be, and that's fine. And so I went through all of those. I came up with new secrets for the session that they may or may not come across. We'll see what happens. And then and I found that worked really well. Now, not that we went through and I could identify, well, there's the contingency there. It's just the idea that I had given it some careful thought. And because I had given it some careful thought, I was able to adjust quickly on the fly, still feel very improvisational. I probably shouldn't have done this in retrospect, but I told the players, look, this is what I've done. This is my prep for this session. My goal is for you to feel like everything that happens is so seamless that I must have known beforehand what you were going to do. Because you can see, and I showed them they weren't able to read it, of course. I wasn't going to show them that. But I just showed them basically, here's the outline that I did. And I just was thinking of contingencies, but I'm not going to share what those are, and I'm not even going to share what the obstacles are. We'll just see what happens. And the feedback that they gave me afterwards was that, wow, the contingency thing must have worked, because it seems like everything just flowed very, very smoothly as they were coming up things and really some excellent banter between the players. And I think what may have helped the banter and the role play between the players was some feedback that I received from various sources, actually, about my actual play. I posted an actual play. Many of you may have watched it, and if you have, thank you very much for doing that. It was a little more manageable in time. It was only just over an hour. I'm not so sure if it was too horror or not. I think it's an area I can continue to work on. But one thing, and this was consistent feedback, was that if I want player emotion to come through their characters, then when I am running one of my NPCs, then they have to bring some emotion. They have to speak with emotion, or they have to have a personality. And when I say emotion, but that's not maybe the right term, because I'm not talking about them, crying over everything, or just being emotional wrecks. Just having enough personality that they seem more real. They're more of a tangible character. That's maybe a better way of putting it. And so I did that. I tried to add a lot to the NPCs in terms of personality quirks. One of the things I did is using ChatGPT, I just quickly generated character traits, flaws, personality things, distinguishing features, just a list of 1 to 100 of them so that I could quickly have them on hand. And if I was introducing a player or one of my own characters in, not a GMPC, please don't get me wrong. I'm not running my own heroes in the game. The heroes are the players. So, but when I was introducing these others, I wanted them to their personality to come through. And I think I was more successful in that endeavor. And so the interactions between the world and the player characters were much more believable, much more authentic, I think would be a good way of saying it. They were an authentic interaction. And the players did an absolutely phenomenal job with their, and these, keep in mind, these were pre-gens that they were given, but they were just doing a great job. There were some absolutely hilarious things that happened right towards the end of the game, just really good. And then other, surprising events, and it was really good. At the end of the session, we had a chance to, we ended in plenty of time so that we could talk about it again. And the feedback was just great. So it was really good, and it was one of those sessions that you have where you feel like everything kind of worked. And I can take some credit for it. I'm not going to take all credit for it, of course, because the players have to buy into it. I guess the more excited I was to play these different characters that I had, and the more different they each were from one another, the better that drew in all of the player characters in different ways. So I don't want to bore you with all of the individual details, because I don't think those would be quite as exciting as when it happened at the table. But really some excellent takeaways. And I came away from the session, I was talking to others afterwards, and they were like, how did it go? It was great. It was really good. So a big shout out to Primeval Fantasy for his comment about preparing not set pieces, but just contingency, thinking about contingencies. That seemed to work really well. And then just bringing more personality to the individuals that my players will interact with through their characters. That made a big difference. We also had talked at length about how to handle fast travel events and the importance of players taking some ownership of getting to the next conflict. Okay, we're not in a conflict right now. Let's get to the next one. Having some surprises and twists along the way, but not going long stretches just kind of staring at the walls, waiting for something to happen. But taking a more active role in having things occur in the game, which went really well. So I was excited about it. I'm still excited about it because it's been a few days now, and I'm still thinking about what happened in the session and how I can improve on that in the future. So maybe there's something that I've mentioned today that would be helpful for you. The idea of the contingencies, which isn't my own idea, of course. I'm blatantly stealing that from Primeval Fantasy. Thank you, sir, for that. And then just taking the risk of bringing more personality to the characters. And I had mentioned this in one of the streams I was on, the idea of kind of pushing the contrast a little bit. And yeah, if for a stranger coming in and seeing what I'm doing, they'd probably think, oh, that seems a little silly. But it's not, in the sense that, it helps people get into the world, get into the mindset of, this is the simulation. This is where the characters are interacting, and here's this, and they can remember that character that I introduced because I gave the character enough personality that they can remember. And then varying those personalities using those tables that I generated with the help of technology, of course, but I generated those so that I could at very quickly come up with some different ideas and then incorporate those into the new person. So I'm not just recycling. I'm always concerned that there always will be limitations on my own creativity. So having those other tables and using them is a good exercise for me as I'm trying to enhance my own ability to pretend and imagine and think quickly and on my feet. So good session. I wanted to share that with you because I was excited about how well it worked. Thank you very much for watching these videos. Hope to be in some other games here shortly. That's always good practice. So we'll see what happens there. Nothing to announce yet, but hopefully some things will come to fruition here in the near future. Appreciate the comments as always. Please like, subscribe if you feel like this is helpful to you or maybe to your game master or your fellow players. Until the next video, I guess. Thanks for watching this one. Bye.